Hello everyone, my name is Daniel Calerical, and today I'll be teaching you how to divide decimals by whole numbers and decimals by other decimals. So first, let's start off by dividing a decimal by a whole number. Let's look at this problem over here. 4.8 divided by 2. So first we want to rewrite it with the small number on the outside. So 4.8 divided by 2. Now before we start, we need to make sure that the outside number is a whole number, which means it doesn't have any decimals. And as you can see, 2 is a whole number because it doesn't have decimals. Now the next step would be to align the decimal where it is. So right here, because these two line up. And now we can go about dividing from left to right. So 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. And we don't have a remainder. And we would bring down the 8. And 2 goes into 8 4 times. So 4 times 2 is 8. And our remainder is 0. So our answer is 2.4. And that's how you divide a decimal by a whole number. And now let's look at an example where we're dividing a 2-digit decimal by another 2-digit decimal. So at first, as mentioned in the other example, we would rewrite it with the smaller number on the outside. So 5.7 divided by 0.8. But now, as we can see, that this outside number is not a whole number, but it has to be a whole number. So now we have multiplied both numbers by 10, so that this number becomes a whole number. So 8 and 57. Because when we multiply by 10, the decimal moves over one place to the right. So it becomes a whole number. And now, because this is a whole number, we can go about dividing. So 5 doesn't go into 8, 8 doesn't go into 5, so we would see how many times 8 goes into 57. So 8 goes into 57 7 times. 7 times 8 is 56. We have a remainder of 1. And now this is where we place the decimal. Because there are no numbers left, we would put the decimal here, and we would align it with our answer above, and we would add a 0, because 57 is equal to 57.0. And now we would bring down a 0, and now we would see how many times 8 goes into 10. And 8 goes into 10 one time. So 1 times 8 is 8, we have a remainder of 2. And now we can add another 0 and drop it down again. So 8 goes into 20 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. So now we have a remainder of 4. But now, because we still have a remainder, we need to bring down another 0. But now 8 goes into 45 times exactly. So 40 minus 40 is 0. So we have a remainder of 0. So our answer is 7.125. And that's how you divide 2-digit decimals by another 2-digit decimal. And now let's look at an example where we're dividing a 3-digit decimal by a 2-digit decimal. So first, we would rewrite it with the smaller number on the outside. So put 1.6 on the outside, then 4.9 on the inside. 4.92 on the inside. But now we can see that this is not a whole number, so in order to make this a whole number, we need to multiply by 10, because when we multiply by 10, the decimal moves over to the right, and it becomes 16. So it becomes 16, and we need to multiply this by 10 as also, so that becomes 49.2. And now we can go about dividing because this is now a whole number. So we would see how many times 16 goes into 49. It goes into 49 3 times. So 3 times 16 is 48. So we have a remainder of 1. And now we have our decimal, so we place our decimal where it aligns, right there. And now we bring down the 2, but 16 does not go into 12 any times. So now we can bring down the 0, because 49.2 is equal to 49.20. So we bring down the 0, so now we'd see how many times 16 goes into 120. And the most amount of times it can go into 120 is 7. 7 times 16 is 112. And we would have a remainder of 8. And now we'd bring down another 0, and we'd see how many times 16 goes into 80. And it goes into 85 times, exactly. So we have a remainder of 0. So our answer is 3.75. And that's how you divide a 3-digit decimal by a 2-digit decimal.